Hello, all you football fans, and welcome back to the Shots on Target podcast. This is episode 3, or part 3, whatever you want to call it, of the World Cup recap. My name is Phil, joined by my man Jakey here.
What's good, guys?
So, in part 3, obviously, we spoke a lot already about our predictions. We've also covered some big talking points. We're just going to cover the final talking points from the World Cup. We're also going to talk about our breakout players, who we think has had a fantastic World Cup, and stuff like that. And remember, guys, to follow our Twitter, link down in the description below. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it.
That's
So, we're going to start off with Japan topping Group E in a group with Spain and Germany.
yeah, absolutely mental group that turned out to be. It was never really said who was going to go through, even at the last game. I think it came down to it at one point. Both Japan and Costa Rica were going through.
Yeah, I think it was like the 60th minute they showed the group table and Japan and Costa Rica were going through and
Yeah,
Spain and Germany were going out. It was just
it was
wild.
like it was such a completely wild group. There was no real indicator who would top the group, who would go through, who would go out. It was proper up in the air. Like ultimately, we did see Costa Rica and Germany bow out the group in what was a tournament to forget for Germany. You know, a loss, a win, and a draw isn't really the best if you want to go through and try reclaim a throne that was once yours.
Yeah.
And what a tournament for Japan, even though they didn't really make it far after the groups. Um, it was just wild.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me it signifies why, because a lot of people saying, "Oh, why is the last group games all being played at the same time? You can only watch one and not the other." And I get that from a football fan. We want to, when the World Cup's on, we want to watch every single game of football. But that is the reason why you have both games kicking off at the same time, because, say for example, Japan played Spain um, at 1 o'clock, and Germany played Costa Rica at 4 o'clock, and Spain beats Japan, so Germany knows they only have to draw against Costa Rica, and they basically a team can throw basically to knock out another team because they know what they have to do.
It's happened in the past.
It
Yeah,
has, and
it's happened in the past.
that's why it was changed, and both games kick off at the same time. But absolutely incredible from Japan to top that group was just incredible, and it gave them. I mean, if you look at unfortunately, if you look at the the knockouts, it didn't exactly give them. It gave them a better game, I'd say, um, against Croatia, and they did fantastically well to take them all the way to penalties. Um,
And then we saw some of the worst penalties of the tournament.
yeah, unfortunately, so the penalties probably Japan will want to forget. But as I said in the previous episode, I think it was just they were just tired penalties.
Mm.
Absolutely just tired penalties. There was no power in them whatsoever. Easy to read for the Croatia goalkeeper. And that's where their tournament ended, unfortunately. But just as a whole, for Japan, they just played, for me when I watched them, they just played with freedom. They just did not care. They just ran their socks off. I remember the Germany game. I was actually at work watching it, and we had 3 or 4 punters in the shop, um, and literally. Um, It was just a massive scream went out by loads of people when Japan scored, and it was like, what the hell is going on? Like, it sounded like someone had been shot. Um, but no, absolutely amazing from Japan, and just a testament to Japanese football as a whole. They were always one to watch out for. I believe I did say in our predictions, they were always one to watch for, just because they just always seem to have those players that just run their socks off. Basically, they just literally will run and run and run and won't stop.
Yeah,
Um, and ultimately, they ran their final leg in the shootout.
yeah.
But no, fantastic. fantastic tournament for Japan and one hell of an insane group.
Yeah, 100%.
So moving on, we are going to talk about the Holland-Argentina quarter-final.
Again, a crazy, crazy game.
Insane, absolutely incredible.
You know, I remember I watched this game with a group of mates, and Argentina got 2-0 up through strokes of genius in how they play, and it never really looked like Netherlands got into the game. They looked so slow. They looked lackluster. I mean, that pass from Messi for the first. For one, I don't know how he sees that pass.
Yeah,
It's an insane pass to Montiel, and again, it was just a crazy game. You know, in the last 10 minutes was it? The Netherlands came back, went hoop
yeah,
ball, and
yeah,
then
but it worked.
it worked. And then in the 93rd, 94th minute, you see something from the training pitch. A free kick, you think, oh, we'll set up because they'll most likely shoot this. It's close to the goal, If you've got a set ball, dead ball specialist, you want to look to cut that out. No, they play it short into the striker, and the striker finishes it in an absolute moment of genius.
Yes, absolute stroke of genius. I mean, that game as a whole, though, even though Argentina, like you say, dominated for large portions of that game, it was just one of the thing is that it wasn't actually one of the filthiest games you ever saw. The ref just completely lost
Yeah,
control of it.
the ref couldn't
Well,
control them. The ref couldn't let it flow. Couldn't
the
discipline
the,
them.
the ref was appalling. He gave 14 yellow cards that game. 14. That is literally a record in a World Cup knockout game of yellow cards. 14 was handed out.
I mean, was it Denzel Dumfries was sent off after the game?
I think so, yeah. I mean,
Like,
yellow cards were given during the penalties as well. Like
yeah.
no one knew what was going on. What
All I
the
can say is praise the Lord. He's retiring at the end of the season.
Oh God, I don't think he would ever be allowed to ref another proper game of football. Like Jesus Christ, that's on the world stage, and you're doing
Yeah.
things like that. But yeah, just talking about the actual football that was played, like you say, Argentina dominated for large portions of the game, and then to be fair to the manager, fair play to him, he changed it up and he went for
He
for a
went
hoofball,
direct.
like you say, absolute direct. He brought on Weghorst, he brought on the other tall striker, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, neither can
Um,
I.
yeah, it doesn't matter anyway. And yeah, it literally worked. It put Argentina. It just made them uncomfortable. And that's exactly what you have to do against a team like Argentina. You have to make them uncomfortable, especially at the back, because regardless of how good you are going forward, if you're shaky at the back, you always have a chance.
Mm.
Um,
Especially with the defenders they had on.
exactly,
I think
exactly. I mean, Argentina have never really produced that world-class defender that will like usher a defense and get them out of trouble.
I think the
I mean,
last decent defender they had, to my memory, was Mascherano, and he wasn't even a centre back. He wasn't a
nah, I
proper
mean,
defender. He was a midfielder.
yeah, I mean, he played centre back during the end of his career, but
Mm.
there hasn't been many outstanding. Even in their history, Argentina haven't had incredible defenses. Maybe really far back, um, but Holland put them under pressure, and it obviously led to the first goal. And then Argentina were right on the back foot, and then, like you say, a stroke of genius. But the thing I want to point out the most is, for some reason, like you have the blueprint there of how to put Argentina under pressure and how to annoy them. But then when they got up to extra time, Holland tried again to play the way they were playing for 80 minutes when they were getting dominated,
Mm.
and it didn't work. Luckily, Argentina didn't have their end product in extra time where they had the chances for sure. But ultimately, it goes to penalties. I mean, it was a very good shootout as well. Both teams looked good, but when you've got a goalkeeper like Argentina do, he finds a way. He will do whatever he has to do to win a shootout, whether that be mind games, kicking the ball away, throwing a water bottle at someone, dancing on his line. it works.
It does.
It works. But an incredible quarter-final nonetheless.
I think one of
So,
the games at the tournament as well, disregarding the
oh,
final.
absolutely. If you take it all into consideration, the game itself, the referee's performance, the amount of yellow cards, which made it even dirtier. I mean, you had that moment as well where I think it was one of the Argentina players kicked the ball at the Holland bench, which then kicked off everything. And
It was DePaul, wasn't it?
yeah, I think it was the pool. Yeah, it's just insane, honestly, absolutely insane. But moving on, we're going to talk about the top performers at the World Cup. This doesn't necessarily mean a team, the team went far, but just standout performers of the World Cup.
Mm. I think there'll be a few that people would agree with. Obviously, you've got the obvious. You've got Mbappe. You've got Messi. I think some of the lesser shouts you'll see is the likes of Amrabat and Unahi. Vardiol I thought it was incredible. Griezmann, Giroud,
Yep,
Bellingham I thought was brilliant throughout the tournament for such a young age.
yep,
There was a young Japanese lad who scored two against Germany. I can't mind his name.
yeah. I know you're on about.
But yeah, I thought for the period that Japan were in the tournament, I thought he was brilliant.
Yep.
I think that there was so many like really good players.
There was.
That
This is the world stage. You expect to
yeah, you
see
do
that,
expect it.
obviously. But in terms of like the top performers for me, like you say, Griezmann was just absolutely incredible. Had an insane tournament, playing not out of position as such, but obviously deeper than people are used to seeing him, and just playing that role perfectly. Obviously, you had probably the whole Moroccan team.
Yeah,
Um,
you could take your pick out of that Moroccan team. They were all fantastic.
you generally could, like you say, Gvardiol as well. I think for Argentina, you've got so many different standout performers as well. Alvarez being one,
I forgot to
McAllister,
mention them.
yeah, Alvarez, McAllister,
Enzo Fernandez was another one
Enzo
who was
Enzo
exceptional.
Fernandez, yeah, Martinez in goal was fantastic. Um, I think DePaul was good. Um, the Holland, you had Gakpo was a standout.
Mm,
Obviously, why he's got his big move to Liverpool now. USA, Tyler Adams was fantastic. Pulisic looked a threat. Um, like you say, so many different top performers. We could be here for hours talking about every single one of them.
mm.
Um, Portugal as well. I forgot to mention
Giancarlo
Portugal.
Ramos. Yeah,
Goncalo Ramos. Yao Felix actually looked like a player
yeah.
for once. Um, there was who was it for Portugal? There was a young kid. One Goncalo Ramos. It was trying to think of his name.
Position did he play?
He was centre mid. Cannot remember his name for the life of me. Anyway, doesn't matter. Like we say, lots of standout performers. Um, but moving on, we're going to talk about a little bit different. We'll probably still hear some of the same names, but breakout stars of the World Cup.
Yeah. I think one who probably just didn't get the game time he probably should have, in terms of how far Portugal went, but Rafael Leao. I thought for
That
the
was that was incredible for me.
yeah
Absolutely incredible. How he did not start a game for Portugal is just beyond me. Every time he came on, he changed the game for Portugal and they looked better instantly.
yeah. I think
It's,
he's a phenomenal player. He's done phenomenal things with AC Milan this season. Yeah, it was criminal that he didn't get more game time.
he has all the attributes to be a top player. He's skillful, he's quick, he's strong, he's got great finish, he can find a pass.
Yeah,
Like all the attributes to be a top player, Rafael Leao. And the thing I like about him the most is a lot of wingers these days. You see them come inside, like to try and affect play, like because obviously with football you can only play one side or the other. So sometimes the person on the other side of the pitch gets bored, but Leao sticks to that touchline because he wants to receive the ball and have that space to just run at the left back or right back. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that makes him an absolute threat, and he's always quick to get into the box as well.
Mm.
Um, but obviously you have other breakout stars. Gvardiol was spoke about before the World Cup, and he showed just exactly why he's a top prospect. Alexis McAllister, probably
Unreal player.
one of the biggest ones for me. I mean, 6 months ago he wasn't in the Argentina team, and now he's a world champion, and he's an absolute god. Do you know what I mean? Things can change so quickly in football, but how incredible he was at the World Cup was just unbelievable. Alvarez, like I mentioned in the previous episode, that change from the first group
Skilling.
game, bringing Alvarez in for La Torre Martinez, and just meaning that Messi gets freed up and he doesn't have to do so much running because Alvarez will do it for him. Change the whole complexity for Argentina over the entire World Cup. We obviously have our breakout star in Jude Bellingham. Everyone knew how good he was, but he'd never performed on the top stage, and he just electrified the World Cup from an England point of view. I mean, that goal that we scored against Senegal, that Bellingham basically made on his own. The ball was at the edge of our box. He picks it up. He takes it past two players. He finds the right pass to Foden, who then finds Saka at the back post. Like, just
He is a
incredible.
phenomenal player.
It is absolutely phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And there probably are other breakout stars, and you guys will probably mention some breakout stars as well. Make sure to drop them in the comments below who you think had a great World Cup in terms of players, who you think had a poor World Cup and needs to do better for their country, i.e. Neymar is for one,
Ronaldo, another.
Ronaldo. I mean, I don't think we'll
Yeah,
see Ronaldo again.
I doubt he'll
Um,
be even called up for the Euros. No, he's
no, I don't. I
loving
don't
life
think
in
so.
Qatar.
Yeah, he loved it so much he stayed there basically.
Actually, it's not Qatar, is it? Saudi Arabia he's gone.
Well, yeah,
Same thing. Money.
tomato, tomato. You know what I mean?
It's all money.
That's it. That's it. But other than the final, we've pretty much covered everything. Unless there's anything else you want to cover, Jakey?
One thing I will say, it is off topic of the World Cup, but on the 30, no, is it the first or the 31st? Transfer deadline day.
The 31st?
Well, transfer deadline day, me and Phil are going to be live streaming over on the Shots on Target YouTube. We're going to be starting from probably 6 o'clock. I'd say that's probably a good time, and streaming the
Yeah.
last 6 hours of it. We did it in the summer, and we're going to be doing it again. So a link, well, not a link because it'll be on this channel, but we'll be tweeting more about it, and we would love for people to come and give us opinions on the transfers that they want to see cross the line on deadline day. Hopefully, it's a bit more of an entertaining deadline day than the one we saw last year at the start of the season,
Yeah,
especially
the
with
summer one wasn't great.
especially with Todd Bowley spending his money like it's burning a hole in his pocket.
Yeah, unfortunately, deadline day doesn't have the same ring as it used to now because a lot of clubs like to get their deals done early rather than last minute incredible deals.
Yeah,
But you never know what can happen. I mean, there's always money around, and there's always that one deal that could just be floating about and won't get done until deadline day. But yeah, as he says, we will be streaming it live here on the YouTube. So make sure if you do want to be alerted for when we do go live, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
turn on
Um,
notifications. Make sure you do that.
yeah, ring that bell, all that good stuff. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for part 3 of the World Cup recap. As I say, there is a part 4, which will be obviously after this one, which we will be talking about the World Cup final. That will be just a whole episode on the World Cup final because it was absolutely incredible. There is a lot to cover on that.
Indeed, indeed.
Um, and yeah, guys, we appreciate all your support. Again, remember, follow us on Twitter at Shots on Target. Link down in the description below. And we will catch you in the next one, guys. Take it easy.
Peace.